I am so happy to see you and all the known faces from years before and quite new faces as well. We are today here to keep you busy for the next 45 minutes. My name is Michael Skiba and I'm here with my colleague Daniel. And we will try to explain you something what is displayed here in a very short title. Let me read that. Explore the seamless integration of process and solution documentation with SAP Cloud ALM. The working title for this session was Solution Documentation Goes Cloud ALM. So our management asked for two persons to present that. The one, young, dynamic, well-looking, who is presenting the new world, which is SAP Cloud ALM. So you slowly know what I will do. I will do the other part. Okay, so in the previous session, we have seen how beautiful fit to standard is working in SAP Cloud ALM, and how to deal with processes, how to create requirements. But let's take one step back and look at that beauty from a little bit distance. Let's compare Cloud ALM tool with another good tool, and let's compare that. First of all, and that's our agenda for the next 43 minutes, it's the introduction. And first of all, we will try to find some similarities before we jump into topic by topic and comparing SAP Solution Manager with the SAP Cloud ALM. Relax. It will take 40 minutes.
I'm waiting.
Okay, so let's start. If you have any question, because my language is not good enough or something else, just let me know. Good, let's start with the general capability comparison. And here we have a lot of good news for you. Because if you look at the Solution Manager and SAP Cloud side, we can really say that documentation of reusable elements in libraries is available. Maybe not everyone knows that, but trust me, I know. It's on both sides almost the same. So that's quite positive. If you look at the availability of the process hierarchy, in both cases, on both sides, it's available. It works slightly different, because on Solution Manager, it's a hierarchy where you assign elements to, and they are really physically available there, while in Cloud ALM, it's like multi-level tagging, where you assign the node to the element. What else? BPMN models. This beauty is available in both tools equal way. Okay, here we are talking about solution processes. In Solution Manager, we are talking about business processes, but it's on the end almost the same. In both cases, in both tools, we have the ability of project and release management. All this can be used, integrated way in both tools. Almost finally, the integration between documentation, test, and change management is a fantastic story, which you should take a look into. And there is one last thing where I am sorry for. That's the availability of best practice content. On my side, it looks quite old. That's how I am. But the latest and most beautiful content you will get in SAP Cloud ALM. Let's have a party. Before we go, let's go functionality by functionality, and let's compare the two tools. And here we have a lot of quite good news for you, because this will partially show you the future. Well, first the past, Solution Manager, but then also the future. And I guess you will be impressed. Let's start with the topic content versioning and lifecycle. Who knows Solution Manager? Yes, thank you very much. Who would like to explain that topic to the rest of us? I trust you. Very good. At least 2 people, 3 who knows better than me. You remember there is a place in Solution Manager, a magical place which we call solution. And this solution was built to document your system landscape, your processes, bring all the documents and having fun. This content which you bring into the solution could be then seen from several different perspectives. So you could see your process, how it's used in production, how it's currently right now implemented, and how it's in design for the future implementation, all at the same time. I forgot also maintenance. And that's what happened in something what we called branches. Now, what about Cloud ALM?
We have something there as well. We have a vision. And that's basically following what you heard in the keynotes. We want to, so to say, make it more focused. Of course, learn, so to say, from the past. And as you all know, if you know Cloud ALM today, so to say, we have the projects, but we don't have a differentiation between, so to say, what is the productive world, documentation of the productive world, what is the change world, so your projects, your rollouts running, and what is maybe an environment for documenting small adjustments. And that's exactly where, so to say, the stages, current working title, for the, so to say, equivalent in Cloud ALM will come into place. So current concept foresees 3 stages, 2, the big ones for the production, 1 for development, project environment, basically tied to what we today know as a project, and another one for maintenance fix, so for basically doing smaller changes in the daily work with the solution, basically. This in combination is then foreseen with a versioning to keep track of what has been changed, by whom and when.
Is it not excited? I am. Because
Great.
this beautiful new tool will learn how to deal with all this complex stuff. Well, if we talk about complex stuff, let's talk about process variants. How was it in Solution Manager reflecting process variants? Because if you implement something, a piece of software, including processes, business processes inside, then for sure you will end up with the bench of variants. Now, on Solution Manager side, you know that very well, even better than me. You can have one big process definition and one big diagram which reflects millions of ways how to go through that. Or you can have one process, several diagrams assigned to the process, which are showing this way how to go through that, this particular variant, how to go through that process. And that's what is in the first 3 pieces of the text. But then on the end, we had something revolutionary new, which was the element process variant, which was an assignment to the process itself, which could help the diagram, test information, and further documentation. Fantastic. You don't let the hierarchy explode, but you reflect all the variants. Now I could repeat myself. Daniel, what about Cloud ALM?
We are following the enterprise architecture methodology, as you might know. And with that comes a new structure into place, basically, which is the solution process and its sub-elements of solution value flow, solution process flow diagrams, so to say, that make up a first level of variant management, where you can model on the solution value flow level, the lefts and rights, link them to the solution process flow diagrams, build sequences, build alternatives. Another topic we have in place is currently, let's say only for marking, but is our tag management, that you can basically give processes special meanings. And last but not least, what is on vision and basically currently in preparation with our best practice colleagues as well is another level of sub-processes underneath the solution process activities that can link then again to other diagrams. That is how the Cloud ALM side looks like.
Fantastic, isn't it? Now, let's talk about what we love, all of us, about content history. And we have a lot of that when you take a look into Solution Manager. Because we are tracking everything. So if you change hierarchy, if you create hierarchy, we will record that in the background. And you can always, for all elements in the hierarchy, right mouse click, show me the history, and you immediately see who changed what, when, why. And it's fantastic. You have to guess why, but you see clearly what and whom, and then you give a call and then you know why. So then, from some elements like document and diagram, you could even recreate those old versions from the history itself. Fantastic stuff. And then we have some reports for the history, for the documents, and the hierarchy, which is giving the holistic view on what has been changed by whom, when. Now, it's calm time.
Yeah, I mean, we rather talk about the future than about history, right? But in this case, let's be precise. And basically, what we are currently doing is rolling out history functionality to the major objects. One session this morning heard already that for projects, it's available. And for example, for scoping, for process hierarchy, for solution process, we put currently enablement of history functionality in the roadmaps, same for test management or for document lifecycle management.
Thank you very much. Now a question to you. Who of you is producing drugs? LSD? Okay, drugs and food? No one's. Nothing to eat today. But you are highly interested in signing off certain things. And you know that very well. In Solution Manager, you code digitally sign almost everything. So you could create signature strategy. You could assign the strategy to the status scheme, which is used in documents, in test plans. And then, if it's not enough, focus build also introduced. Where is he? Where? Oh, that's the hero who introduced also digital signature for work package, work item, or anything else what you could imagine. That's the solution for all the drugs and all the food producers. Now you.
We have something really good there. We have my colleague Lisa, who is owning the topic. And with her, we have a special focus on all the requirements of the regulated industries. And some functions are already available or shortly available as of today, so to say, like the process owner that you have seen in the session before, DMS integration, customer-specific workflows, for example. And then there is a comprehensive roadmap of further topics, like 4I's principle, signature management, special document types, for example, for validation, unique IDs for the major objects to identify them. That's what we foresee in Cloud ALM. More details in Lisa's session, I think, on Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow she has also another session dedicated for exactly this topic. For sure, I forgot also 4I's principle without any problems on the old side of the story. But let's talk authorization. Do you remember how complex the authorization topic was in Solution Manager? You did, and almost all of you, and I know here the corner, know that very well as well. So we had authorization groups defining what can be changed. We have authorizations areas in which area of a hierarchy you could change something. We have structure attributes where we can restrict the changeability of a certain attribute by dedicated person. We have diagram entities who may create another data object or role, or we have also dedicated authorization elements for documentation handling. And finally, administrative activities like creating reports or creating sites or creating scopes. Thank you very much for the help. Now, Daniel, what is available in Cloud ALM?
First, as you might remember from the keynote, the idea to keep it simple. And that is, so to say, above all that. What comes with Cloud ALM is, of course, the role collections. You know that we have the project already established as like one central anchor point for defining access rights, which basically with visibility and then the role user makes up a matrix of access right. And we have in operations, for example, object-based authorities on the landscape management access group. So of course now with rolling out further functionality, we always look on if any of these functionalities need to be broadened, so to say, but with the mindset keeping it simple and not having the complexity as in the past.
And it's exactly the right term, keeping things simple. Let's talk about template rollout. That's the most simple strategy which you could choose. And it's a simple scenario. On Solution Manager, as you probably know, we have at least 2 ways how to deal with that simple thing. We could do that within one solution and reflecting the global processes and local processes in the hierarchy. And through the ability of the branch, we could enable or first implement the global processes and then one by one implementing the same global process for several countries. Easy stuff. If you'd like to have it more complex, and I know that in-house we have another customer who chooses the other simple way, you could also have 2 solutions. One solution for just exclusively global processes, and then you extract, you import to another solution, which could be in another Solution Manager system even, and you use that content to implement the global processes and to extend that by local processes. Easy stuff. What about SAP Cloud ALM?
You mentioned solution, and that's exactly where the solution concept comes into play again. So what we foresee in Cloud ALM is basically adding up to what you learned with the stages that are foreseen, reuse capability. And there, what you today know as a scoping will play a central role, basically providing reuse capability. That's the idea of a dedicated scope. Can be either then, so to say, already implemented pilot scope reusing it for further rollouts, or a template being defined, reusing that. Another concept part is the separation between global and local elements, so to say, that you are able to differentiate between elements, especially starting now with the libraries, that are only should be maintained on a global level, and elements that are to be changed, adjusted during rollout on a local level. That's what currently is foreseen in the concept.
So, the outlook couldn't be better. Yes, it couldn't be better. You should be very satisfied. But what about integration aspects, which is quite important in both tools? And let me start with Solution Manager. So if we just look into Solution Manager itself, we don't look around that, but just into the system, we have one of the greatest integration between process management, test management, change management, requirement management, test management I mentioned already. Okay, test management and transport release management, so all the jazz. All that is working beautifully together. And on top of that, we even rolled out Focus Build, which put the crown on top of that. Wasn't that beautiful?
It was. But
what's new in your world?
I'm not sure if our colleagues from operations would agree that it was the best process monitoring, as that is what we basically already have available today in Cloud ALM. We have our test management, that it's tightly integrated to the project process definition. Based on that, as well integrated to the best practice content, so pulling right away content already for preparing test cases. And last but not least, we have today already our integrated change and feature management. That'll of course get another dimension in regards of documentation with the solution concept, with the single stages.
Cool. So that's what happens inside of the tool. But what happens if you look at the integration outside of the tool? So what we have on Solution Manager side, we have the integration to Signavio. And through BTP, we can bring that processes from Signavio into Solution Manager. We have connection to Jira to synchronize requirements, which could initiate the Focus Build process requirement to deploy. We have Tricentis to just test something. And we have Enable Now to train our business how we designed, how we implemented our content. And before I hand over to Daniel, I would just like to jump into the details of that process. So once you start in Signavio, modeling the new process, and you are done with that, you can synchronize that to Solution Manager. In Solution Manager, you start doing feedback workshops. So you talk with the business and you detect all the requirements. And independently, if you create the requirements in Solution Manager, that's not too quick. Now you know too much. Forget all this. Sorry. If you create the requirement in Solution Manager or in Jira, it's really independent, but because it will be reflected in Solution Manager as well and assigned to the right element, if it's process step, or whatever else. Based on that, you can start documenting it. So what is my functional specification? Which technical objects should I use to implement that functionality which has been requested? And once you did the functional specification, you hand over to implementation, and implementation just puts on top the technical documentation, and you start thinking about your business, how to train them, how to tell them the truth, how you implement it finally. finally. But before you go live, you have to test it. And also that would be done based on development branch version of our process. And finally, after successful testing, you would go live with that. That's the requirement to deploy process in Solution Manager. Now, how does it look in SAP Cloud ALM?
I think taking the first topic, we heard already a lot about Signavio, and that's basically the two solutions are coming closer and closer now. First release, as you heard, is end this year, so about November, and for next year, further steps planned for tighter integration, as Frank introduced, so for having a setup that the solutions are clearly integrated with requirements capture and with process documentation at the handover point to then the implementation solution of Cloud ALM. One back, please.
Sorry.
Second topic is the topic of Jira. There we have basically APIs already available today to integrate Agile project management tool. Third topic, Tricentis. Tricentis integration is available with the two tools, with a clear separation of the single task of the tool with Cloud ALM for test creation, test orchestration, and on the other side, Tricentis for test automation. And last but not least, Enable Now with the ability to sync projects and sync documents as a preparation for the change management, for the training. Now, looking at the overall landscape of Cloud ALM, basically, and taking that as a target picture, and we had this washing machine at one topic, you see in the middle the core capabilities of Cloud ALM that are already, so to say, tightly integrated. All the functionalities communicate with each other, coming from scoping over process management, requirements management, right away being able to create test cases out of that for the user stories and managing the releases. In addition, we heard already that APIs, so to say, is a core focus. So making really Cloud ALM, so to say, the center of gravity for ALM management with the solutions around, like, for example, Grafana. That's coming, LeanIX, Signavio, Enable Now, we just mentioned. We have the DMS integration that is coming up for tools like Google Docs, SharePoint, and on the other side, the agile management tools, Tricentis that got mentioned, and ServiceNow. So that as a landscape for integration and functionality with the solution concept, envisioning that on top makes up the future.
Exactly. And I hope that your feelings are now much more positive than before the session started. Because what you see is how this quite young product will how it will get bigger and bigger, how it will get more integrative and more functionality into that. Now I have to hand over to you because it's just Outlook and just your slides.
Just a slide, yeah. Just to sum up at a glance what we have seen. So one major topic that we've seen, enhancing the integration capabilities. Of course, Signavio, LeanIX, you've seen that in the speak of Frank as well, is one key topic looking ahead. Another topic we had on the list, and that's a big one, and of course not just like one point on a roadmap, it's multiple topics that we have to tackle there. We heard about the single stages, so the development stage, the production stage, the fixed stage, reuse capability for scope, global and local elements that are foreseen, so the overall topic of the solution concept that we will tackle that comes slowly into play. And last but not least, and of course not, so to say, right away in sequence, is the topic of regulated industries. So where we have dedicated product management with Lisa focusing on the topics taking in the requirements, incorporating that into a roadmap so that these are considered as well. And of course, these customers have as well advantages for versioning, for history, and so on. Process owner, what got mentioned. And with that, looking forward for the future.
Slide. Yeah, we come to the last slide, which is just question and answers. And it's your turn to just kill us by asking as many questions we cannot answer as possible. So
but
somewhere there you will have some microphones. It's already coming in blue. So the first question. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for a very good presentation comparison, because that really helps. But as you could see earlier, I was a big fan. I'm a big fan of the branches. It took me a couple of years to understand it fully and use it. And I'm looking very much forward to it in Cloud ALM with the stages. But one thing I was missing here, because one of the things in the branch concept is so strong, is the change enablement, so that we can control what goes from the design to the development and is released. So all the change management that is included, very beautiful focus build, releasing the work package and stuff like that, and controlling everything. Is there a similar mechanism? Because Cloud ALM is like a teenager, everything is no constraints, nothing, we can do everything. And now it's had to grow up to the regulated environment and follow a lot of more standards. It's painful, we have experience in focus build, but can you handle that?
Let's say we will try to. To my knowledge, is not on the details so far. But you wanted to add something?
No. I would just answer that very quickly. Yes. It's in the design thoughts. So the future, which Daniel was introducing with even solution concept and project and fixes. So all this will also be not, or the possibility that you cannot change something without a change. Also, this is on the roadmap. So
not freely changeable. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Very good question. Thank you very much, Ingo. We didn't talk so long.
I have a question. I'm not sure if it fits into your scope right now, but it's connected to the documents. I'd be interested to understand how you envision the DMS integration, how that would look like in Cloud ALM. If it is more like we still have the documents app referencing to somewhere, or if we get the documents showing up as objects in Cloud ALM documents.
There I would have to point you to the session of Sinja. It's, I think, tomorrow.
Yes. And okay.
So she has the details. She's basically managing the topic. You mean like if they are right away reflected, or if they become own objects? Don't bolt me down on that. I think they are reflected, but yeah.
Can I ask? Okay, I have two questions. The first one, so there was this variant process concept in solution documentation. Is there something equivalent in Cloud ALM?
Currently, basically, it's not foreseen, so to say. So the functionality that can be presented with the solution process as such, and its, so to say, sub-elements, that is currently what we plan to offer, so to say. Okay, so not replicating basically what is in Solution Manager.
Okay, so variant would be like a standalone
new definition.
Process, kind of.
Standalone definition or standalone diagram, depending on how you slice and dice it, basically.
Okay, and my second question is about the my process structure or hierarchy.
Hierarchy, yeah.
Is this like, because in Solution Manager, this is like branch specific. How is it right now when you have like the 3 solution types? Is it like also solution specific or?
No, basically today it's, let's say we don't have branches or so, right? Of course, thinking of like a production stage. And development stage, of course, we have to foresee in the concept that the hierarchy is changing as well, so to say. So that cannot be the same. So basically with processes coming from development project stage to production, other elements like hierarchy, documents, and so on have to come as well. But that's not in place today.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, and thank you for a good presentation. And yes, it certainly made my day. Thank you, Michael. You are the Bono of my world. I've been a fan of this, and I have to say,
10 euros goes after the session to
I
you.
have the same feeling that you express up here with Solution Manager. It's the most cool thing that ever happened to SAP, and we've been using it like others are telling it to the full extent with Focus Build and all this. So, as I see it, we are with this presentation. I'm close to thinking that I might start the journey now because it seems like you are there. We did put the systems in, but all my documentation, all this is not ready yet until you show us this. So just one question, like it was mentioned before with Focus Build, your documentation follows the process step or where you added. Is this also the case in Cloud ALM? Will I be able to reuse my objects? And will I be able to find the same document that is built for an executable, no matter where this is used? Okay. So the library structure is not just a word, it's
no.
a library structure.
Libraries basically will be visible, let's say, already this year on the process management. The libraries in the background are, I think, nearly all built. Application libraries ready, so that's really something coming this year. Of course, with, let's say, first SDD functionality, focus, upload, and having it in the solution, and then being more and more tightly integrated with the processes.
And if you would like to make my day, just come to the next session where we exactly discuss this.
I have booked it.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Mike.
It's yours.
Maybe just short question. You talked much about stages and solution cycle, and I took a look to the roadmap, couldn't find it. So is it just a vision for the next years and to see that it's possible, or is it planned for some months?
I think the roadmaps were all roughly till end of 25. So basically it's a topic we focus on, but it's not something which comes, let's say, end of 25 or so, as there's still some concept work to do, and then we will start, so to say, with first activities and, of course, prioritizing what has to be done first.
To have it would be rather 2026 early, maybe. Yeah, okay. But we can plan.
Looking for some other guys here in the room from yesterday's speeches to answer that, but yeah, it's basically not something that'll come end of 25 or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Daniel and Michael. Thank you very much for this presentation. Excellent comparison. And I do have a question about knowledge warehouse disappeared. I don't see any knowledge warehouse. So what are the options to store documentation within the Cloud ALM?
Should I?
Yeah, please.
Yes, so there was more or less similar question to Ingo. Yes, right now you have the possibility to create a document object within SAP Cloud ALM, and it's not using any knowledge warehouse stuff. It's just in there, and you can define title and some content and some additional assignments. But, and for sure, Senior is the guru for. I am just from last year the cheap replacement. You weren't there, but I was forced to make the session for her because she was not available. So you are very welcome to talk with her. From what I know, yes, there is a plan on the BTP to use the content server to store the documentation on that too. And that includes then, on very far future, possibly also the connection to third-party storage locations, so that you bring that into SAP Cloud ALM.
That was my question, because we're using the third-party applications such as Box or SharePoint,
Yeah.
and storing the documentation through the third party. So, okay, that's going to be possible, I guess.
Yeah, it's not tomorrow, it's not next month, but
It is clear.
that's the hope for, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I thank you. Any other questions? So we still have 4 minutes.
There's a question.
I think at my ADM 100 course, I was called the random question generator. No, just thinking, in Solman, we have this cool functionality that documents are stored inside Solman in a HANA base, and I can search for everything. Do we have plans of keeping up with some of that functionality, and how does that comply with the third-party document store?
Like enterprise search or so?
Yeah, embedded search, yeah, enterprise search, yeah.
Don't bolt me down on the roadmap, but it's planned, so to say.
Okay.
And again, for that particular topic, Sinye is the absolute guru for answering the questions. Yeah. Anything else? We still have 3 minutes free, so we could use that to just ask for whiskey.
Good idea.
I know you like this idea. We from our side, we thank you very much for being here, being patient and asking the beautiful questions. Have a great day and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.